Here with week 9 check-in, and I just wanted to show everybody my mug that I'm drinking from because it's like the size of my head. My son gave me that for Christmas. Anyway, placement's going well. This last week my field instructor gave me a case to review, and really the goal for review of this case, because the client is deceased, is just to look at the barriers that this particular client had and where we were missing on our end, whether it be with resources, policy, communication with client, communication with other agencies that he was involved in. Real sad case, 24-year-old young guy who attempted suicide a couple years ago by jumping off a bridge, severed his spinal cord, and became an incomplete quadriplegic. Still had a little functioning in his hands, so he could maneuver his own electric wheelchair. He was insulin dependent diabetic and was in a nursing home due to some really serious wounds that were infected to the bone. He had osteomyelitis. And I've seen wounds like that. I've smelled wounds like that. They're not good. He had wound vacs for treatment on these wounds, which is a good treatment, but the process can be long and slow. He had a colostomy. He was really total care. He did have his own apartment, but he needed someone to get him up in his wheelchair every morning, put him in bed every night, empty his colostomy bag, help feed him, that type of stuff. So he was a lot of care. He was eligible for services with the state Medicaid program. And a worker had assessed him. One of the barriers was the nursing home he was in was an hour and a half away from his home. And that's a red flag right there, because, why wouldn't any nursing home in his area accept him? Probably because he refused a lot of care, was high liability for those facilities. But being so far away from home, you're really removing someone from their comfort zone, from their home area, and access to family, friends, that type of thing. And this client needed that probably just as much as he needed the medical treatment. He refused a lot of care. He refused mental health coming in to talk with him. Refused a lot of personal care. He would say it was his right. He wanted to be discharged home and wanted to go home, and said his family would help him out until the Medicaid caregiver, got started. And so the nursing home discharged him. They put him on a train without even checking with family to see if they'd be there to pick him up. So, and the nursing home was basically, their point is, this is his right. He wanted to go home. There's nothing we could do to stop it. They sent him home with a wound vac, which these machines are really expensive. So I don't know how they managed that, because it's just I've tried to discharge people with wound vacs when I worked in a nursing home, and it was very difficult to do, just because of the cost and the risk involved in for the machine. So anyway, then the home health nurse that was supposed to go out and check on his wounds and the wound vac, couldn't, when she tried going out within a couple of days, he was never responding, never answered phone calls, nobody ever came to the door to let her in. She called APS, called the police for a safety check. The police went in, found him unresponsive in his bed. The colostomy bag had come loose, and so that he was feces all over. The wound vac was totally off him. They took him to the hospital, and he died within a couple days at the hospital. So really within just, 2-week time, he was, from being discharged, he was deceased. So, of course there's a lot of barriers with this young guy and just working with him. Obviously he was making these choices, but when I worked in a nursing home, I had clients like this. I don't think I would have put him on a train like that, even if it was his wish. If he truly wanted to leave, that's his right, but I probably would have made it leave against medical advice, because I'm not going to help someone when you know they're being so destructive. So that's the case I'm reviewing. I'm sorry I'm going over now. So I guess my question would be, you know, where could programs and communication between the nursing home social worker and the state social worker be improved, and even working with this kid, where could a communication improved, knowing that this is a high risk case, because the nursing home social worker didn't notify the state social worker until after the kid had already discharged, that he had discharged. So anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Talk to you later.